Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
On Wednesday, we told you about Volvo's decision to build only electric or hybrid cars, a first in the traditional car industry. But now experts are warning that without billions of pounds in investment, Britain could be heading for local brownouts and hours of queues at service stations. Here's Joe Tidy.
I'm feeling dizzy.
Robert Llewellyn is what you might call an early adopter. His love of electric spawned a YouTube channel.
If you can get someone to have a drive in an electric car, I always let people have a go in mine, they always come back grinning, going, I didn't know it was like that. So the acceleration is quicker, is really, really swift. And people are really surprised that a car that looks like your average city runabout goes like stink.
Clearly, there's no shortage of enthusiasm for electric cars. Sales shot up by more than 50% last year. And Volvo's become the first car maker to announce all new models from 2019 will be electric or hybrids. But are we ready for the electric car revolution? If you ask the people monitoring energy use, the answer is not yet.
The likely pace of growth is something that the system can absorb for the next few years. The caveat there is if there's clustering, if there are too many people in one street charging an electric car at the same time, that could cause a problem for the low voltage network. But beyond that, we think the system should be able to cope well. In the future, if we get to penetrations of electric cars that are in the 60, 70, 80%, that becomes part of the overall transformation of the energy system that we have to look at.
National Grid says it's working on improving resilience, but investment is needed. Some put the price at well over £2 billion to boost supply to homes and install smart energy systems. Another potential roadblock is the availability of charging pumps. Dale Vince is the founder of the largest charger network in the country. He's taken years to get here, but now he's planning the next phase to cope with demand. Soon he'll roll out super-fast chargers capable of filling the latest cars in just 15 minutes.
We've used the available grid capacity at these motorway service stations, pretty much used it up. So to put in the high-powered chargers next year, we'll have to bring in a new grid connection substation. And because we'll put in bays of 6 to 8 of them at a time, we're talking a megawatt or two of power. So that's a kind of big step up, and that's where we are pretty much as a country.
But undoubtedly the public will be asked to pay. The government's already promised hundreds of millions of pounds to boost infrastructures, but it may well take billions to gear us up for our fully electric future. Joe Tidy, Sky News.
OK, let's talk to motoring journalist Nick Gibbs. Good to see you, Nick. Many thanks to you for joining us here this afternoon. So are we unprepared for the rise of electric cars?
Well, if you read some of the stories in the newspapers yesterday, it seems like the revolution is happening right now, and all these cars are going to be delivered, sort of like, maybe next year. But the truth is, we're still a long way from a situation where we have to upgrade our grids. In the first half of this year, about 22,000 cars were sold with a plug. Sort of either plug-in hybrids or pure electric cars, and that's out of 1.4 million. Now that is growing. It was up 15% over the year before. So, and obviously the manufacturers, as we've heard from Volvo, are gearing themselves up for an increased high electric future. So it will come in, but it just won't happen right away.
Interestingly, you picked up on Volvo. I just scribbled down a few of the headlines coming out of the motoring industry in the last few days and weeks. Volvo, she said that they're building only electric and hybrid cars. France saying that's going to ban petrol and diesel cars by 2040. Germany saying that they're going to ban internal combustion engine by 2030. So are we seeing a sea change in the motoring industry?
We're definitely moving in a different direction, yeah, there's no doubt about it. VW Group have said that they'll be selling a third of their cars will be electric by those are sales by 2025. And as we've heard, Volvo rolling out 5 new models. We got a new Jaguar Land Rover electric car coming in September, that's being shown. So, yeah, we're definitely seeing it happening. It seems to me that the pace is being driven by the battery battery technology, which is a lot better than it was. It's cutting the cost of what is still a very, very expensive part of these cars. So yeah, we're getting there. It's still a while.
And Nick, just very, very quickly, I mean, as Joe mentioned in his report, sales on electric cars on this time last year have gone up by 56%. I think that was what the figure was. Is a political will there for electric cars moving forward into the future?
I think so, yes. And part of the reason is because the government sees electric cars as part of the sort of new automotive technology that we as Britain want to be getting behind, you know, to boost the automotive industry. And so they're going to be very keen that we switch over to it just so we become a sort of automotive manufacturing hub for these kind of vehicles. So, yes, I don't think we'll see government support waning.
Great stuff. Nick, many thanks indeed for joining us this afternoon.